Well, welcome to the Church Tech 101 podcast. I'm your host, Tim Hartman. Today's episode, Season 2, Episode 3, is titled, Is Your Sound Booth a Dumping Ground? Let's talk about that. So as I travel around the country and help churches with their technology, I often run into the junkyard sound booth. And often it's filled with all kinds of things. Dead Amazon microphones, some piece of Radio Shack equipment. It's almost like a game for me to see if I can find some piece of realistic equipment from the Radio Shack era. And I almost always can find such things. But, it turns out that I end up cleaning out people's sound booths more than they do. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I think will help you keep that space clean. And let me say this up front. A nice, clean sound booth is a pleasant environment for your volunteers to work in. And honestly, I've seen so many sound booths that, were just a little junkyard. And so I have a couple of suggestions and things that I hope will help you keep your sound booth in good repair and looking nice and being a pleasant place to volunteer in. So, number one, keep short cleanup intervals. A lot of times I find that people who clean the church, whether they're professionals or volunteers, they don't really want to venture into the sound booth because they're scared. They might unplug something or mess something up. And so it never gets vacuumed. It never gets cleaned. So make that part of what your tech team does. Maybe they come early on a Wednesday night, or they do it after the Wednesday night service. Pick up the trash, vac the floors, wipe things down. I keep a little duster in my sound booth, just a little Walmart Great Value ones with a little fluffy yellow gizmo. You know what I'm talking about, the ones you can throw away. And I'll go through, I'll dust my soundboard off, carefully, of course, so I don't mess up any knobs. I'll dust off my computer monitors and all my equipment and my counters, and I keep everything looking nice and clean. And every once in a while, I will vacuum in the booth, get everything, ship shape, whatever needs doing, just to keep it neat. And doing that on a regular basis makes it much easier. Just like when you told your kids, if you would clean your room every week, it wouldn't become this giant mess. So do it with your sound booth and get your volunteers to take pride in the space where they work. So, number 2, sell that old mixer or whatever it is before it's worth zero. The amount of churches that keep old equipment because what happens if the new stuff breaks? Don't do that. I've walked into church storages where they've had 3 generations of audio mixers all lined up. Well, that was the original one. Then we upgraded. I mean, sell that stuff. Move it on. Donate it to a smaller ministry. If you're upgrading, but your mixer is still in good condition and in fine shape and doesn't have problems, please don't donate junk mixers to little startup churches. That's not nice. But find somebody who can use it. If not, put it on Facebook Marketplace. Put it on Craigslist if you dare. Somewhere. Take it into a local music shop and see if they're willing to buy it. I have a local music shop near me and that buys a lot of used equipment from me. And it's a place where people come in if they want to buy budget-friendly gear. And sure, I don't get exactly what it's worth, but you know what? It's quick, it's easy, it takes it off my hands, and I get something for it versus it's sitting around and just taking up space. Number 3, sort of part of 2. You won't use that later, probably. I've seen, and I've been in this situation where the sound budget was so tight that the sound op keeps everything. If they cut a connector off a bad cable, they put it in a drawer. The amount of clutter and hoarding that happens sometimes in sound booths can be overwhelming. And they'll just be boxes of stuff, parts, things that people won't even use, cables for equipment you don't even own anymore, you're probably not going to use that later. And if you need it later, buy a new one. Put a little budget in that. And then we're not talking about expensive things. We're talking about, $3 or $4 adapters or something, $6 or $7 cables, not a biggie. But it's not worth keeping all that clutter around forever. You probably won't need that later. And number 4, if it's broken, throw it away. I have seen this over and over again. Oh yeah, well, that's our wireless mic that doesn't work anymore. Well, why is it still in the booth? It's okay to throw it away. I'm giving you permission. Toss that bad boy in the dumpster. Okay? Not a problem. So if it's broken, throw it away. Here's one that I see a lot, and that is discourage other ministries from storing all their items in the sound booth. The sound booth becomes this sort of dumping ground for stuff that we need to keep out of sight. So I've seen churches where ushers had their stuff stored in the sound booth. They kept the offering plates in the sound booth. All sorts of stuff. You name it. Like, I've found boxes of random stuff. Just, we said paperwork, all kinds of things. The sound booth is for sound. And I think that if your other ministries don't have some sort of storage, that's another problem. But for the sound booth to sort of inherit the chore of being the storage space for everything, it's overwhelming. And as a sound guy, I've come in and be like, man, I'd really love to clean this booth out, but I don't know who this stuff belongs to. And if I throw it away, will I get into trouble? Don't put your sound guy in that situation. Let the sound booth be for sound stuff. If the ushers need storage, buy a nice cabinet or something where they can store their items, and that can be their space. But I think making the sound booth the default storage for whatever junk people want to drop off or leave, or like, hey, can you keep my coat? I mean, it gets out of control sometimes. I've actually seen forums for guys who are building a sound booth. They recommend on the edge of the booth that you build a 45-degree slanted booth top, so people can't put cups of coffee or like store things or sit things on the edge of it because it'll just slide right off. Because they're so tired of that, and it's just the sound booth is not a place to stash somebody's purse or whatever. If you need safe spaces for that, make an office available, something like that. But that one just kind of bugs me. Maybe it's because I'm a sound guy. Number 6, update your carpet and buy nice chairs. I have been in church sound booths where the carpet was like 3 carpets ago. Like, it's stuck in the 70s, but we have nice modern carpet in the auditorium. It's a booth. I mean, we can't spend $100, $200 to make the carpet the same in that space. Now, there's sometimes it's just so cluttered and people don't know what stuff is. They don't want to try it. They don't want to tackle cleaning the booth out, so they just never replace the carpet. And then I've seen booths where the carpet is worn through in spots. The chair barely rolls. The carpet bunches up when somebody tries to roll around. And while we're speaking of chairs, buy your booth people some nice chairs. I have seen lots of sound booths where they got the leftover, partly broken office chair from the secretary's desk. She got a new one, but the sound people have to sit in the broken down, sketchy chair every week. You don't have to buy ridiculous, like gamer chairs or something, but put nice, solid seating in there for your team that volunteers. It'll make their job much more pleasant. It's just a neglected corner of the church sometimes. To me, it's almost hilarious when I walk into a church. Well, I'll be a beautiful building, a beautiful thing, and then I'll walk over into the sound booth corner, and the booth is just stuck in the 80s or the 90s. So there you go. Update your carpet and buy nice chairs. 7, make sure your floor is clear enough that anyone can vacuum without fear. Now, this requires a couple of things. 1, it requires that things get off the floor. I just did a booth in Wyoming, and the ministry there was very conscious of the fact that they wanted anybody to be able to come in and vacuum their booth space, which helps keep it clean. So they actually mounted their computers on small shelves so that they were about 10 inches off the floor under the booth. And that way, anybody can come in and vacuum. None of their cables were down in that. Good cable management keeps all your cables up nice and high. And so that somebody who's cleaning the church, all they really have to do is roll the chairs out of the way and vacuum the carpet in your sound booth. And I do recommend carpet in your sound booth, by the way. Hard floors and people rolling around are make for noise and distraction during your service. So something short pile, commercial, carpet squares, whatever. But make it so that it's easy to clean and that anybody can go in that booth and vacuum and not worry about, am I going to suck up a cable and turn the whole system into chaos? So there you go. Finally, and kind of number 8, but just overall, take pride in your tech space. Keep clutter off the counters, throw things away on a regular basis, dust, wipe, clean, make it look nice. We're very concerned about how our auditorium looks on a Sunday morning. And not everybody goes up in your tech space, but just keep it in good shape. There's no reason why you shouldn't keep it in nice condition. And it shouldn't just be this forgotten little hole that the volunteers sit in, because they're part of your church too. They're some of your members. And you taking care of the space where they volunteer says a lot about how you value them as a volunteer and how you think what they do is important to the ministry of the church. So anyway, that is this week's episode. I hope it's helpful. I hope you had a couple of chuckles. And I hope that ultimately it helps you have a cleaner and more friendly tech booth. Thanks for listening.